Okay, looking pretty good. We have now modeled the head and the body. We now just need to do the arms and the legs. This is fairly simple and straightforward. We're gonna start off with a cylinder, and let's give it a radius of 15. Let's bring it down here. This is gonna be the right leg, or the left. Actually, that's the right leg, really, but from how we're looking at it, you know. Let's give it 12 rotation segments. There's no need to go much higher than that. By the time we drop this into the hyperknobs, it will have plenty of resolution and rounding. I'm gonna give it a height of 190 and maybe bring it down, put it to the right, and this is where a good reference image would have been really helpful, but you know, I guess you reap what you sow, and I sowed laziness. Okay, I'm gonna hit C to make this editable. I'm gonna get my line, my knife. I'm gonna cut a line just there, and then I'll get rectangle selection. Let's get that set of points and bring it down here. Press T for scale and just bring it out quite a lot. Before we go any further, let's get a symmetry object and drop this cylinder into there. Let's call this the leg. So this is being mirrored across to the left side, or the right side, if you want to get really technical. Okay, about here looks pretty good. Just make sure there's a lot touching. Let's make 2 more cuts, and let's bring this down, maybe scale it out to the same. And alternatively, of course, you could just get to you could just get a hemisphere, and this will be done probably a lot faster. But sometimes it's good to try and manual things out. In this case, I think it was actually faster than having to get a hemisphere, bring it down here, cut it, make sure it fits, and so on. And that looks pretty good right there. Let's carry on. Let's do the arms. For this, we'll get a cylinder, orientation positive X, radius maybe 14. I think the arms are just a little bit narrower than the legs. Let's bring this down here. Actually, before we go for the lower radius, let's go for a larger radius. This is going to be like this shoulder pads, which you can see right here. Let's bring it down. Go to the caps menu and add a fillet. That looks pretty good actually right off the bat. So I'm gonna keep it like that. Maybe it's a little too wide, so we want to decrease the height of this thing to maybe 190 or so. And right here looks pretty good for me. Okay, let's give it maybe 16 rotational segments. I'm gonna hit C and get all of this. Oops, I need to be in rectangle selection point mode. Get all of this and just remove it, so we only have just the one side over here. Maybe get this and scale it up just a little bit. Okay, I think this looks fantastic. Let's get a cylinder, positive X orientation with a radius of 14. Let's give it 16 rotational segments. And in fact, you know what? You don't need the cylinder. We can do this like real man. If we select these 2 loops, we can just remove them right out, and then get this one right here. And with this one, we can actually extrude it outward. It's definitely a little thick, so before we do, let's just scale it in and then try again. And maybe the cylinder would have been a good idea in the sense that you didn't have to eyeball any of this, but I think it's worth having less objects in our scene to just do this manually. With the width, I'm just gonna eyeball this. You know, imagine this was imagine this was like down here. I think that would be roughly the same length if it was curved like this. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna make another extrusion to about here. This is this section we're trying to create now. Let's bring it in. Press T for scale and just taper it off. Just like that. It's almost as tapered as as large as the shoulder pad. So don't be too cautious with that. That's fine. And I'm making a model where it's just sort of standing in a normal posture with his arms out wide. So if you were going to move ahead and rig this, this is the position you'd want this to be in. Let's get a symmetry object and mirror it across. Call this the arm. I think that looks pretty good. Now we need the fingers. There's 3 of them on each side. So for this I shall start. Okay, before we do that we need to close this gap up. So let's do a 0 extrusion. Hit apply. Hit T and bring that in. Right click, weld, click in the center, and that's that closed off. We may want to drop this into a hypernerbs for the shoulder pad to be nice and smoothed off, but when we do that we get too much smoothing, especially at the end here, so we need to add some more weight maps as we've been doing all along. And that looks good. Let's limit that angle to 25. And I'm pretty satisfied with this. Okay, so let's shut that off for now, and let's create those 3 fingers on each hand. I'm gonna get a cylinder with a radius of 5 and a height of 20, orientation positive X, and just 8 rotational segments. Let's bring this out here. This will be one of them. And then what I'm going to do is to get the array, drop this in here, and we can change the orientation of the cylinder until it looks right. So positive Y is fine, and now we just need to rotate the actual array. So the banking, let's make that 90. Let's bring it down here. Give it 2 copies with a radius of maybe just 20, maybe even less. So 15. That's my audio recording. You were not supposed to see that. This kind of secrets are best kept to myself. Now you know how I do everything. Okay, I'm gonna have to kill all of you now. Right, let's lower the radius of this and maybe bring it out. We can go to the cylinder, go to caps, fill it, and give it a radius of just 2 or maybe 3 with 4 segments on each. Just pull this back in. So we have these nice fingers right here. And of course, if we drop this into the arm, we get mirroring, which is glorious. And I think that looks pretty good. Too much softening there. So clearly 25 degrees was not enough, so let's go to 10. And this is looking grand. that's the hands and the arms finished, which means this tutorial is also finished. In the next section, the final section, we'll be taking a look at finalizing anything that we missed out throughout the modeling. See you in the next video.